Thank you. My name's Tom. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Tom.
I, too, have been through the process with the grace of God and Big Book Step Study sponsors. And as my friend TK would always say, with God's loving arms wrapped around me tightly. TK was a big inspiration for me. My father was. A slew of other people were when I got to Big Book Step Study. There's no reason why I should be an alcoholic. I had a good childhood. I grew up in Littleton, Mass. My father was worked for himself, and we went to church on Saturdays or Sundays at St. Anne's. My father was in the folk mass, and closest thing to, I would go to my grandparents' house, and I would have Schlitz beer or Miller beer with my grandfather, and I liked it. And we would go to Plum Island, and I'd get to walk out of the package store with my grandfather, and I felt invigorated when I was around him, and I just liked, he'd give me like a little bit at the end of the can, and that's what kicked it off for me. I liked it. But my father was at the time, and my mother, neither one of them were heavy drinkers, social drinkers. They would just, you would just say, hey, normal family, living the American dream. And unfortunately, or fortunately, in 1978, my father picked me up from the Neshoba Tech in Westford, and a drunk driver hit us. And my father lost his leg, and I broke both of mine. And I was maimed for life. And it changed the kid I was. I felt less than from the moment I gained consciousness in the hospital. I went to Mass General, and we were both lucky to be alive. I was pissed. I was pissed at God, I was pissed at the world, and I had right to be pissed. What was I doing laying in a hospital, unable to move, unable to walk? And I used to pray to God to take me. Every night I would, God, please don't let me wake up. And I got out of the hospital. I went home in a body cast, and I was just an odd duck. I couldn't move. I had a shit in a bedpan, I had a piss in a bottle, and I couldn't stand life. I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't ride my bike anymore, all because some drunk hit me. And I became a teenager. I started partying. I come outside of myself. I didn't give a shit anymore. If you smoked dope, I smoked dope. If you drank Michelob, I drank Michelob. If you drank Heineken, I drank Heineken. Whatever you guys wanted to drink, let's pitch in our money, let's get some beer, let's get a buzz on, and let's party. I was 15 years old. I was walking, it was my friend Doug Morrill. He moved to South Carolina, so I'm not going to worry about, him. He's got this great idea. We're going to go to Florida. We're thumbing down 495. We're going to go to Florida. We get one exit. And he goes, hey, let's stop at the Old Colony gas station, and we'll kick the glass in. There's $75 in the drawer, and we can get some cigarettes for the trip. Sounds like a good idea, Doug. Let's go. So it must have been a boring night for all the surrounding towns of the police. There was, every town had a cop there. They got the friggin' canine dogs there. He's biting Doug. He tells him to sick him on me. I got scared. I punched the dog in the head. The dog bit me anyways. And it was just like, I'm going to jail. So wasn't Doug. I'm like, Doug, this wasn't a good idea. So here comes Dad, and he's pissed, like Andrea said, you just damage the name, the family name. My father owned his own business, and now his son's in the paper. And they spelt the name with a D instead of a B so they could get away with it because I was 15. So my father's pissed, and he's like, you know what? You're coming to live with me. All right. And he tells my mother, good, get the little bastard out of here. I don't know if she said that, I just threw it in there. So Dad says, I know what you little shits are up to. From now on, if you're gonna drink, you're gonna drink here. And what do you guys want? I'm going to the Packy. And that's all it was. Now I'm drinking with Dad, and we're pooling our money together, and 15 years old, and the key was, you assholes are gonna work just as hard as you party. And we would go to work, we would paint all day long, we'd stop at the Packy at night, and he'd buy us, we'd all pool our money together, and Dad would walk in there, come on, one of you's gotta help me carry, because he's only got one leg, so he's not gonna be staggering around with the bottles coming out of the store. So that went on for all of high school. It was, you live with Dad, you make sure you go to work, and you work 6-7 days a week. And if Sundays came, we would be out in the woods getting wood for the winter and dragging trees and throw them in the back of the truck and going down the railroad tracks. And he was a driven man, and anyone that was around him, you either worked or you just didn't fit in. You just had to go to work. So it was ingrained in me to work on a daily basis, and that's what I did. I went to work, and I drank, and came home, and I went to school, and I'd go to work after school, and I just partied. I just liked it. I just liked the insanity. I liked the effects. The taste of beer, whatever. It just was like, let's party. Let's get a buzz on. Let's see what happens. Let's see where we go. And we'll deal with the results the next day. And I did that for 10 years. And my father got sober before I was able to even have a legal drink with him. I can remember being in bars with him. My father would be like, I said my son can drink, get him a drink. And the bartender would look at him and said, I said your son can't drink, get the hell out of my bar. And my father said, all right, let's go. And we'd all leave the bar because you'd piss him off and he would change his direction. So I turned 21 and Dad's sober. I'm like, what an asshole. How can he get sober before I'm freaking drinking? And I was pissed. So now I'm drinking, I'm smoking pot, and I'm having a good time without him. And now he's sober. And now he's starting to hire you assholes from AA, sober. And these guys are talking about being sober and how grateful you are and how good life is. And I'm like, Jesus, I got to get away from these guys. And we go to the next job, and he's hiring another sober guy. And I'm like, for God's sake, can I have my own job away from these guys? So finally what happens is along the way, I had my girlfriend from high school, and she got pregnant. I lived with her, and she took off to Wisconsin with my daughter, and I became, it generated my partying to where it was just like, how quickly can I get there? And then she wrote me a letter and saying, things suck in Wisconsin. I'd like to come back. I'd really like to try. I'm sorry I cheated on you. And I'm like, geez, I don't know. You just had a kid with another guy. This don't sound like a good deal for me, you coming back. I had my own house at the time. My father held me by, and I was like, I ripped my house down. I was so full of fear, I ripped my house down, and I was just like, I gotta protect myself from making a bad mistake. Rather than just saying no, it was better idea to rip my house down, go live with my mother, and live in her garage. My friend Billy was driving for Pepsi at the time, an 18-wheeler, and he'd stop at 4 o'clock in the morning, hey, whip open the garage door. I'm like, Billy, what? You wanna get stoned? I'm sleeping. Yeah, I know, but I got no one to smoke a joint with. I'm like, for God's sakes, Billy. And then he gets behind the wheel driving for Pepsi. I'm like, all right, Billy, well, go ahead, you're here, let's go ahead. So I'm 24, and I'm just like, I'm starting to have dreams of things crawling on me. I'm starting to wake up with frantic nightmares of people in my house. I'm starting to see ghosts and like invisible people. And I'd be driving down Route 2 from the Rusty Scup, and I'd be pulling over and I'd get out of my truck saying, "Get out! I don't know who you are, but get out of my truck." I was crazy. And I called up this guy, Lee P., who worked for my father, a little Korean dude, going to Lake Whale. Mom said, "Hey, Lee, you still going to meetings?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, can you pick me up? Can you go? "I'll be at your house tonight." "Oh, how about like, tomorrow night or something?" "No, I'll be there tonight." Like, wonderful. And of course, here he comes, he's got that Chinese shit-eating grin smile. I'm like, wonderful. I get into AA, and I was, it's like 1987. I'm like, there's no way I'm ready to be happy, joyous, and free with all you smiling people. So I went out there for another year and a half. And none of those dreams left me, none of those things left me, and it just got worse. And I called that same guy up, and he gave me the same answer. And he showed up, and he's like, "I'm still drinking my Budweiser." He goes, "Pour it out." I go, "Pour it out? Are you crazy?" I put it on my windowsill. I walked across to Lake Whalum on a Saturday night, and there's Brian Shibarasi up there saying, "If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it must be a duck. And if you can relate this to alcoholism, you're an alcoholic." And I'm like, look at this asshole up there talking about ducks. So I was trying to learn to identify. And that's all I heard when I got here. It was like, you got to identify. You got to learn to connect with the speaker so you can figure out if you're an alcoholic or not. And the big book would talk about, if you're not sure if you're an alcoholic or not, then just go out there and try some more controlled drinking. And I knew from 87 to 89 that I was not able to control my drinking. And I knew from being here, from the time I was 15, I crossed the line and I could no longer drink in safety. I couldn't do anything in safety. There was no safety for me. The safest thing for me to do would be to shut my mouth and not say a word and say, "I don't know." But I didn't have the ability to shut my mouth and say, "I don't know." I thought I had to have an answer for everything, and I thought I had to know something about something, and if I didn't, I would just figure I got to make it up. So I was, believing my own lies. But I got here in '89, and I hung around for 8 years. For 8 years, I didn't drink. I went to meetings. I asked God for help. And I rolled out of bed like they told me. I'd land on my knees. I say, "God, please help me stay clean and sober today." It'd pop up, and I say, "Yeah, the rest of the day's mine. What can I do today?" And I was working for myself now, painting houses, and I was, staying sober. I was staying sober. Life was okay. I was picking up my daughter, trying to be a father best I could with no skills, with no, what was I going to do? I didn't know what to do with a 4-year-old girl at the time, so I dropped her off at my mother's and went and played softball and picked her back up and did what I could. I just had no parental skills at, 24, 25, 20. It took quite a while to learn how to actually just go be a father with the kid, and I don't think I ever really got it with her. So she paid a price for kind of having two delinquent parents that, drugs and alcohol were their chief advisor. I was under the advice of drugs and alcohol for a long time, and it wasn't good advice I got under that influence. It wasn't until I got here and started to really seek God's guidance that I got God's guidance. In the big book, it talks about, God not having too hard of terms for those who seek him. And you have to seek him. I had to seek him. I had to be honest and sincere. And I didn't know there was more to it than not drinking, going to meetings and asking God for help. And I'd go to meetings every day, morning, noon, night. I hid in Alcoholics Anonymous for years because I was just scared to death to participate in life on life's term and get out there and be around people that were sober, that were just normal, living people that had life's issues but didn't have to hide in drugs or alcohol. And they wouldn't even, seek it as relief, as I sought relief, like I like how Sue used to put it, relief-seeking missiles, and that's what I was, always seeking relief from the pain and burden that I either caused or was under by my own thoughts. And I was here for 8 years, and of course, dear old Dad is now, not only is he sober, but now he's Mr. Captain Process, and everything's about the big book and writing. So of course you got to listen to him about, now it's the next thing. Not only do I got to get friggin' sober and quit drinking and quit hanging around with my alcoholic and drug addicted friends, now I got to make sober friends. I got to hang around, nerdy people and learn how to live like that. And all of a sudden I get this like, oh God, it was just torture, It just making that transition from who I was to who I had to become to who God saw me as, and now it's, my father. And again, you could see, he did get more enlightenment from the process. And I thought life was okay after 8 years, not drinking, going to meetings, working for myself, I didn't need to be rocketed into the fourth dimension. I've already been rocketed into the fourth dimension, drinking and drugging. I mean, what the? So, my friend Scotty, thank God, he was, every Friday night I'd meet him, TK. We'd go to the men's meeting in Somerville. I think it's in Medford or Malden now. I can't keep track with everything, but when we were writing, when I made the, all right, should I get off the pot, Tommy? You want to get cleared of the wreckage of the past. You want to see. I didn't realize how selfish and self-centered and the fear that was in me. It just crippled me, didn't allow me to participate in life, the fear and the dishonesty that I tried dodging through my other behavior was just bizarre. And here's Scotty and TK was a great ambassador for this process. He was just like my father. The two of them could just motivate anybody to get going on this process. And I just, it's just like one more thing. Oh my God, I'm just like my father. I'm an alcoholic just like him. I'm a drug addict. It's just like I got to do everything he freaking does. Yes, if I want to get well. And my father paid a high price for, being an alcoholic and a drug addict and getting hit by that drunk and losing his leg. And he was now trying to lead by example. He knew the insanity that we grew up under the influence, or I did, and he was really motivated for this process, and so wasn't TK. I can't say enough about those two men. So I'm writing. I'm going with Scotty, and we're going to all these different meetings, and that became. I must have went to 5 Big Book Step Study meetings a week for the whole year I wrote, and I kept doing it for years after that because I was single. My daughter was much older now, a teenager, and I had the time. And I wanted to be around like-minded people. When I was with my first sponsor, he had like 20-something years sober. He goes, "What the hell are you doing that stuff for?" And I knew I had to get away from this guy. As well as he did with me when I got sober, he was now blocking me from getting closer to God. And I had to make choices of not deleting, but getting away from those that weren't doing the work, that weren't motivated, that weren't trying to get, closer to God and do God's will. And I had no idea really the amount of consistency that it takes to achieve that. When I was writing, it was, I couldn't sit still for 15 minutes. 15 minutes was a huge mark to sit down. When they say, write for an hour, I'm like, I couldn't do it. It was just impossible. I couldn't sit still for 15 minutes and then 20. Then I got, it just kept another 5 minutes, another 10 minutes. Next thing you know, I hit my first hour. I was like, holy shit, I did it. An hour. My first suggestion I successfully completed here. I did an hour, I wrote, I was like, wow. And I would light the candle and have all the, do the third step prayer, and I was doing 84 through 88 and taking in all the suggestions. And I'm writing along, and I get to the turnarounds. and I started getting relief. I started seeing a guy that I no longer had to be. And I didn't know who I was going to become, like what God really had in store for me. But I knew the guy that I was writing about, his skin it was like the snake shedding his skin. That guy was leaving. And I was becoming available to be molded by God. God is the potter. I just had to be the clay and stay pliable, not, as my wife said, stubborn. I had to become pliable to where God could help mold me. Of course, I had my ideas on how I wanted to help God mold me, but they didn't always go with his plan. And the next thing you know, I'm done. I did my turn. I'm like, wow, what a relief. And the fears, the sex, it was like, my sex ideal became, I don't like being, any kids around here? I don't like being, let's just say promiscuous, all right? That wasn't like, I wasn't raised to be bouncing around. I was raised, to be, as I am now, not, I don't know how to say it, I wasn't living the way sexually that I was raised to live. So I liked women, and let's just leave it at that. And I ended up that, my sex ideal was to be married and to actually have a family that, I could actually apply myself to. It wasn't to be the way I was. So when I finished my sex ideal and I did my fifth step with my sponsor, and we go to Plum Island, I said, I got to go to Plum Island to do my fifth step. So it was like March or something, and it was cold. It was on the beach, and he's like, you want to get a room? I'm like, frig no, I ain't getting a room with you. I said, we're going on the beach. And it was cold, and he's like, so I went and I bought 2 chairs. We're sitting on the beach, and we're both shivering, and tears are coming down our cheeks. He goes, that's it. I'm like, we're done? It's like, no, we're getting a room. I'm like, oh, God. So he goes, go tell the guy you need a room. And he's going, what do you think he's going to be thinking, right? And he's just busting me hard, because he just knows. And he's like, yeah, what do you think he's, I'm just, all right, Steve, enough. So, all right, let's go. So then I start reading, and all of a sudden it's like, and he's snoring away, right? He goes, like, hey, what? He goes, I was up late. I go, am I boring you? He goes, no, keep reading. And he would stop me. He goes, boy, you were a manipulating bastard, huh? And he's like, you just say shit like that to me. He's like, thanks. He's like, you're welcome, keep reading. So we get through it, and I go home, and I do the sixth step and read that. And I did it again in the morning, and it's like, I felt like I was walking in, I felt like this, he goes, how you feel? I go, like a little kid, like I'm about 5 or 6 years old, and like I'm like this petty little prick. He goes, yeah, that's good, you're right on track. I'm like, yeah, wonderful. So now I'm supposed to get out there and, sponsor people and get active, and, everyone likes the fresh blood, and, I get up here for my first time. I think I lasted like 2 minutes. I'm like, I can't freaking do this speaking shit now, it's like, in the old times, they'd be up there, hey, stick to the step, It's like, what are you shitting me? I just freaking finished. I'd be like, all right. And I just started living life and asking God for help, and started watching for my selfishness and self-centeredness. And, I was down in North Carolina, and I still wasn't able to master my sexual impulses with women. So I'm down in North Carolina, and I said, God, the next girl you send me, I promise you I'm gonna marry you. I promise you, right? So, I don't know if you remember that movie with Dom DeLuise where, the closer he gets to shore, the more he takes back how much he's gonna give to God. So I'm like, all right. So I met Andrea, right? Mrs. No baggage, right? And, of course, I believed her, She's got no baggage. How hard can it be being married to someone, you're both sober over 10 years? This is great, right? It's gonna be easy, walk in the park. And then, man's will meets woman's will. And, I want my way, yeah, I want my way, yeah, well, I want my way, no. And learning how to, I was very, very fortunate. I caught her in a lucid moment and she said yes. So, I was able to, what happens, obviously we had our daughter together and when we met, we were going to the Red Sox. I had season tickets at the time, and we had a lot of fun going to see the Red Sox. And in '04, when we got married, they lost to the Yankees. I don't know, it was 19-6 or something on our wedding night. I'm like, what a freaking bunch of bums, We're up there in our room, and then we slither off to Bill Wilson's house for our honeymoon, and I'm like, here's Big Poppy cracking home runs, and I'm just like, my heart's going crazy. I'm like this. So actually, with the day after our wedding, we went to the game, and that's when it started. The comeback started, the '04, and then we went to the honeymoon, and what a journey it was to to get married and to watch the Red Sox and to be at one of the World Series games, and it just was like you couldn't ask for better memories to start off with. And then our daughter comes, and then it's like we were actually in 2013. It was, I think, one of the last years we held on to the tickets, and we were on the field for the World Series, and everyone's like hugging us and kissing us. It's like, Jesus Christmas. It was a great, great experience to be there together, almost 10 years later, to actually be at Fenway Park and see the Red Sox clinch on the home field. And it was all, it was the marathon. It was just a magical year when, all the tragedy hit Boston and Big Poppy and Johnny Go-Go Gomes, all those guys. It was just a great ending to a very tragic start of the season for the Red Sox, with the Boston Marathon being the tragedy. And then, we have our daughter today that I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of both my daughters. My oldest one just moved closest to us, like within 5 minutes. She's probably less than a mile away. And she had the courage to leave Billerica, buy her own home, move closer to us, and quit her job. And with she just quit a job, like this high-powered job for IBM, and just told them, you know what, I don't need your soulless company. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but see you later. She must get that from her grandfather, because he'd be the same way. Hey, I say you can drink. So it's, well, our daughter, my youngest, is, Andrea got her involved with softball, and I'm watching her pitch middle school. She's a 6th grader striking out 8th graders, and it was just like tears were coming down I can't believe how good this kid is. And I'm not biased because she's my kid. I'm actually watching her as an athlete, and she just so happens to be my daughter. It was just a joyful moment to be clean and sober, living under God's realm, and being, Andrea's there, I'm there, we're family, we're watching our daughter, we're supporting her, doing everything I was unable to do back in the 80s and early 90s when I was just too twisted up here in the head. So that's, what it was like, what happened, what it's like today. It's not easy, but 14 years we've been at it, and we've been staying, clean and sober, trudging the road. Sometimes our household is filled with resentment. There's resentment. Sometimes we just get hostile at each other. It's like, but we get through it. She always reminds me, to her credit, is, it takes two. you know, and then I got to go process that. What do you mean it takes two? It's all you, isn't it? Oh, it takes two, and that's the hook that gets me every time. So I have to, you know, keep my side of the street clean and work on my step 10. And I have married friends that I talk to about the situation. My friend Tom McDermott, who's from Salem, New Hampshire, is married, and he's been through the process. And I talk to him quite a bit. My friend Larry Stone and TK, these guys are married. So when I call them up, they're not going to tell me things like, oh, just leave the blank, right? No, they're going to tell me the truth. They're going to say, oh yeah, what's God say about it, you know? And I'd be like, you have to tell me that now. You know, I want to be self-righteous, you know. I know one of my key points, when I get pissed, when I'm angry, I know I'm wrong right away. It says right in the book, self-righteous anger is right away. It's a dubious luxury we alcoholics can't afford. And sometimes I think I can afford it, you know, and I can't. And I'm in a lot of trouble when I get like that. And I think I'm going to stop there rather than try to invent stories that you don't need to hear. For me, it's been a real blessing being clean and sober since September of '89. My last drink was Labor Day weekend is September, is my last drink. I smoked pot for 2 more weeks after that, so my true sobriety date is, you know, the end of September, somewhere in there. And I've been sober, clean and sober, but for the grace of God ever since. It's you know, it takes effort, and why some get it and some don't, I have no answer for. But I'm just grateful to Alcoholics Anonymous, Dr. Bob, Bill W., all the founding members, the grace of God, that I'm here and I continue to stay clean and sober. I just thank you for your ears and your time today. Thank you.